Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim Spoilercast, which we recorded on a Yakback. I'm just kidding. We recorded it on a Skype call. Just kidding. We recorded it with high-quality equipment. I'm your host, Dan Video Games. With me is Bob.
Let's go Natsuno.
From GigaBoots. Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
I'm acting like such an amateur.
KZ from KZExcellent.com.
Gotta look good for you, John.
And Dr. Agro from GigaBoots.
Yuki Takamiya. There is no joke.
Yeah, I also like Sukaban Deka.
It's a good show, Steph.
I'm just... Somebody should make a shop where it's just like, do it for her, but it's fucking shoe. Anyways, welcome to the 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim Spoilercast, or as we like to call them, Game of the Year 2020 Part 6!
Oh, no! Oh, no!
Now, Dan, I have a counter to your suggestion of do it for her, but it's shoe.
Okay.
You have the do it for her board that are all pictures of Tomi Kisaragi, and then it pulls out and the person looking at it is a 45-year-old man.
No!
I was just thinking of that, but it's yakisoba pan.
Oh, that's good. Let me tell you, I wanted to try yakisoba pan as a low-level background radiation of my life for years now. This game has made this a crisis. I thought I was good.
It's so bad. It's fucked up because I'm like, okay, what's that fucking bread additive Japan uses? How do I make these fucking rolls? Because it's not a hot dog bun. There's no way I'll be able to buy what kind of bread it is in America.
Yeah, it's nuts.
How do I make soba noodles?
This is the years-long Hail Mary to when I eventually try it on some stupid vlog while I'm in Japan on my first vacation in forever. And this is the beginning point of, okay, I'm going to have to fucking try that before I die.
You'll have
bullshit.
to mirror the game and eat it in 2 bites.
And then eat 7 of them.
On my own.
While trying to get that fucking cat to activate.
God, no. I brought that shit up in Game of the Year.
I ate 12 hot dogs trying to make this cat come to me.
I'm gonna crawl around on the floor looking for change.
I brought up the getting the cat come to me thing during Game of the Year. KZ was mostly confused. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, most people I've heard play this game have yelled about how they could not figure out how to get the cat to come to them.
What's funny is I got confused trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is weird. I guess this is what happens when you do that scenario 80% of the way through the game because nothing else is like it.
Yeah, nothing else is like it. You're trying to approach it in the way that most things in the game work, but nope, it's slightly different. It took me, I think, 3 loops. So first loop, I barely perceived what happened, and then the cat ran off. Second loop, I'm like, I'll try this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, so clearly I got to get close enough, but then talk to my friend. That was one of the weirder moments of the game, mechanically speaking, but yeah, I don't know. We gotta take an official structure to this spoiler cast. 5 minutes in here, we're gonna introduce how this works. So with the spoiler cast that we do at the beginning, we all say a little snippet that summarizes how we feel about the game, and then we make a sound to represent how we feel about the game. We won't give you our score though until the end of the spoiler cast. You'll have to stick around and earn that number. And we're going to go ahead and...
I wonder what the scores will be based on what people know about it.
It's okay. Someone may come into this without watching all of Game of the Year 2020, right? Hell.
That'll be me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dr. Agro hasn't... It hasn't even all come out yet. So we're going to go ahead and start with Mr. Feel. Mr. Feel, give me like a few sentences about this and a sound that represents how you feel about the game.
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is like watching every anime ever made at once, and they're all great. So I'm going to give it a
This is gonna be the best sound roundup I've ever heard. I want a viewer to just cut these back to back and keep overlapping them. We're gonna move on to Bob.
Sure.
Give me your summary and sound.
Yeah, I've said it before, but 13 Sentinels really feels like every single piece of sci-fi fiction ever kind of crammed into one giant, like, it's like an anime whole series that you binge through.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it's really crazy. I'm going to give it a banana.
It, like what you're saying, Bob, it reminds me how, like, Mega Man's Astro Boy. Dr. Wily is the fucking guy from Mazinger Z, the doctor who made Mazinger Z. This is like if every single thing was stolen from something.
I mean,
every single aspect.
A little bit. Those kind of already ring with that was, oh yeah, he's also Casser, and so his dog is obviously Catherine's dog.
It's like further beyond.
Yes.
Let's just to go one step further. We're gonna go next to Dr. Aggro. Aggro, summary and sound, please.
Aegis Rim is if you're the kind of person who gets bored sometimes watching or reading things because by chapter 2 you've already called everything that's likely to happen in it. This game is a long hot bath that you need to take. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're the kind of guy who's like, oh, I predict everything, this game is like being trapped in a house of mirrors.
But no, wait.
I guess we'll go to KZ next. KZ, summary and sound.
Experiencing the story of 13 Sentinels makes you feel, at the same time, the feeling of falling off a skyscraper and drowning. But it's a positive experience the whole way, so you just go, wow.
I sound like a Sega Genesis?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, the game where I was really scared about Vanillaware because they kept making it for 8 years there. And they seemed to not be showing the gameplay. And when they finally showed the mechanical gameplay for the battle sequences, you just worry that it's like, oh no, this was like some last minute thing they came up with to replace it. It is not. Surprised how much I enjoyed the mech combat, and the story is fantastic. Though, at a certain point, when you have plot twists for 32 hours straight, some of them start undoing the others. I'm going to give it a nice.
It's like up, down,
You're
down,
like a
forward,
video game
circle.
boss that gets hit over and over again.
Okay, I guess to start talking about this, oh my god.
Yeah, where do you even start?
Well, we got to look good for Yuki-chan, but let's go ahead and, for people who have listened to our Game of the Year, Aggro hasn't even had the opportunity to listen to this part yet. We gave all 3 best characters to 13 Sentinels characters.
Yes, we did.
I mean, I haven't looked at the list for the year, but I don't have a gut reaction to feel that that's wrong.
I know it's fucked up how right it feels.
That segment's really funny.
So wait, who'd you put below Yuki Takamiya?
Oh, what if I told you,
Dear friends?
What if I told you Yuki didn't make the list because we were limited to 3?
Wow, that sounds like a wasteful use of 3 slots.
What if I told you there was only 2 in the nominees, and then we added 8 more during the discussion?
It was really funny. This game has really fantastic characters. We totally cheated on Game of the Year, though, because 3rd place goes to Juro. We didn't say which one.
Yes.
Something Bob rightfully brought up.
What kind of Juro is this guy?
God damn you! As Bob brought up during Game of the Year, something interesting about Juro is that your main character is a composite of multiple different personalities, but before you learn that, he's just a milquetoast harem protagonist.
Yep.
And I spent a good chunk of the game being like, I cannot believe this dude is this milquetoast in a game full of such fantastic. And then the game's like, guess what, motherfucker? What if it was lore? I'm like, no.
What if the hollow, boring harem protagonist guy is literally lobotomized?
Yes.
Yeah, I was worried. I'm like, oh god, is this going to be one of those eye level? We're going to see all the cool characters from his perspective, and then wait, his story literally doesn't move forward at all. What the fuck is that? Why does he look like the guy from Blade Runner? What the fuck is he doing?
It's really good. I did not expect that twist. There were many, many twists throughout this game I expected, but I did not expect the one of the main character's milquetoast is on purpose, and it has a meaning, and there's plot that is going to develop through that. And I'm like, oh, come on, what? No one does that. Chill the fuck out.
I waited a decent amount of time in this game before I started doing his story.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
I had done other character stories like Shu Amaguchi's before him. So I would play Juro's story, which repeats the scene of hanging out with Amaguchi. And I went, this is weird. They're showing the exact same scene again. That character wasn't there before.
Oh my god.
Why is he there?
What?
Is this like an alternate take? And then my brain, the crank started moving, and I went, oh no, it's Fight Club.
Holy shit.
I feel.
And I went, man, depending on the order, this game is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel a little weird because apparently super early on, I immediately thought that this Kyuta guy, he doesn't seem real.
See,
like almost the first interaction with him, I was like, this just seems weird.
He's definitely weird. There's an air about him that's off-putting. But
Yeah,
I didn't immediately assume he's a spectral digital ghost.
Yeah, I suspected him immediately because he had a very intense I don't fucking know how else to say this. He had a very intense voiced by Yuri Lowenthal energy.
What?
like Yosuke from Persona 4 where it's like, you're suspect.
Which is weird because it's Ben Diskin.
Ben Diskin is kind of like the modern version of that, I think.
He freaked me out because he does that really sinister shit early on in Juro's story, and then they just drop that entirely, and it doesn't come up again till the end of Juro's story.
Yeah, because you don't see him anywhere else, so it starts becoming worrying of like, wait, what's up with Kyuta? I haven't seen him since.
Yeah,
I just sort of forgot about him till I came back around to Juro later on.
Yeah, that was funny where he in the prologue he clearly knows things, but that's the first time you're like playing the game at all. So you're like, okay, some characters are going to be important. And I just ignored him, and I ignored like the first three characters. Him. I'm completely blanking on the.
There are 307 names in this game. You are forgiven.
Yeah, I know. That's what makes it a nightmare.
Give us a vague description.
Yeah, yes, I'm trying to get to the part where I'm the main girl in this.
Oh, Iori? Fujisaka?
Yes, there you go. I ignored her, Juro, and Shu Amaguchi for a long time, and I'm like, clearly, Kyuta will be in those. And this will all make sense. And then it got to the point where I just forgot him.
Yep.
I sat there and for a bit, and I'm not making this up, this is real. For a bit there, I was certain. I was like, obviously Kyuta's such a fucking loser that no one else pays attention to him. So in their stories, he's not represented at all.
Yeah, I was right there.
Yeah, that was totally possible.
My assumption was kind of like, well, obviously I'm just always leaving this classroom before he walks in.
Oh my god. So speaking of order, like I learned I didn't call Kyuta, like I knew he was sinister, but the whole him not being real thing happened, and like 2 segments later, the cat disappeared from the middle of her story, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, depending on what you do, things end up a little different. Like with mine, where I finished Juro's story, where they conclude by also saying, that cat's also all about that. And I'm like, I haven't done her story where she hangs out, Megumi's story where she hangs out with Cat. I now know exactly what this is about.
It was a fucking roller coaster because it's like cute is not real. Oh man, that's a head trip. Oh, the cat's also not real. Oh man, that's fucked up. Oh, also that cat was cuter. Game.
Please. I can't believe I'm gonna fucking reference Family Guy here. But it just reminded me of this really old fan, like from the first season where they're watching a fucking like Lori or whatever a daytime talk show. It's like, I'm not actually a man, I'm a woman, and he pulls the zipper down and is a woman. It's like, I'm not actually a woman, I'm a horse. And she pulls down the zipper and is a horse. It's like, I'm not actually a horse, I'm a broom. And she pulls it down as a broom, and then the broom just falls over.
Yes, and the audience goes wild. That is 13 Sentinels.
So, okay, I've got to ask for you guys, structurally, how far into the game did you get before you were either told, suspected, or realized that time travel wasn't actually happening?
Almost immediately. I think it was the
it
first.
Was very quick.
Yeah. I think it's the first 5 hours. I immediately went, nothing else about this seems to need time travel to be real to keep existing as it is. And I think that makes way more sense in sci-fi. It's way easier to be like, we're teleporting between different constructs. So it was almost immediate for me. How about you, Aggro?
I dived Natsuno Minami's story. So, like, the first time BJ was like, we're going to Sector 2, I'm like, that's not how you talk about time travel.
Yeah.
It was whenever, like, I realized it instantly the first time you see, like, the kaiju destroy the past and then a future time is fine.
Yeah, that
like,
happens.
It's like
pretty early.
Yeah, that happens pretty early. It's like, oh, these are obviously separate, like, containment things.
I saw that and I'm like, okay, it's Trunks rules.
Yeah, I had the somewhat suspicion they could either branch to the different timelines variable or continuous no time travel. And then I think the only time I questioned no time travel was Denji Ogata was like, okay, do they have some weird form of time travel just for this? No, there's no way.
Yeah, I think it was like a third in for me, where I'm like, they keep calling it sectors, because my general order was Natsuno Minami and then Yuki, and I kind of just stayed with them as long as they would let me.
Yeah. I bombed Natsuno to get to Yuki.
See, this is funny.
She's in this story. I know she is.
This is funny. I actually put off Natsuno for a pretty long time, which frustrated me because they're like, no, you need to do her to get more Yuki. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, she was the first character I chose after you get past the intro.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that means I got to her shit about 13 hours after you or something. Because
Jesus,
yeah, you don't need to dive bomb hers, especially early on.
Her stuff has some of the most like, oh, this is how it all works. Stuff in it.
Yep.
Because that's where you immediately get the, here's the super future or far past in actuality.
Yes.
Yeah. So I ended up getting. Yeah. I got the body hopping and all that stuff. I got really early.
Mm-hmm. I did the first part of Natsuno's, which ends with her finding BJ, and like, we're gonna go have an ET adventure. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna do a little more Juro though, because I think he's the main character, so he's probably gonna have some setup. And I do the next part of Juro's, and then Natsuno shows up, no robot. Hey, here's this guy from the 40s. He's gonna stay at your house for a while. Bye. Okay, we're going back to Natsuno's story now.
I need to know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, that is a pretty good overlap. That's a pretty good through line where you're just like, okay, clearly that shit's going somewhere. Maybe I should check that out. See, I had hit that point. I don't think I was that familiar with that character by then, so I wasn't sure how weird it was that Natsuno met them, whether Natsuno had taken them from the past or whatever. I don't know. Natsuno had the ET buddy, and I was like, I don't know. There's some pretty interesting threads here I'd rather follow, so I really did just push hers off. But then, I had to do it for Yuki-chan. So you know how it is. Those battle quotes are damaging. Can we just say that? Hearing them say the same battle quote 307 times.
I don't know what they were
yeah.
thinking. There's thousands and thousands of lines in this game. Why is there only one battle quote?
I think the main one that got to me, okay, is the one where he goes, I'm acting like an amateur, because it never made sense.
It is the worst one. I don't understand. It's not based on performing.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like, what do you mean? You've been MVP for 2 fights in a row. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's
What?
never good enough. He has a very high standard for himself, okay? You have to understand.
He looked at an enemy and they aren't already dead, so he's feeling like an amateur.
I'm sorry, KZ, did you just say you had something that wasn't a Gen 2 and MVP in a battle?
The Gen 1s are kind of ridiculous, aggro. You just
Oh no, they are. Once you figure out that Demolisher Blade is the key to physics,
Yes.
they're great. But
This is
never
what
got
happened.
MVP for me.
I was very reserved in the amount of things that I picked and invested in. So whenever it's like you're going into the battle, I'm like, all right, let me pick up the Demolisher Blade. All right, I've unlocked it. All right, preemptively, let's upgrade it 8 times.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
only
I
thing I've
was there.
upgraded for this fight. Just one weapon on one person. Let's go.
They're so good. Oh my god, then Nenji Ogata gets his hypercondenser and you've got like 300 degrees of Demolisher Blade.
yes.
Yes.
He just
Actually,
becomes
that was really
Jiren.
funny. He was my MVP in one battle when he attacked once because there was so much shit in that radius. He did like
He's so
800,000 total damage.
The only time he didn't one-shot something toward the end was the final boss unit. Everything else is like, no, he's going to rip through and do 45,000 damage.
They're like, the Gen 1s aren't good at anti-air. I'm like, okay, so I gotta mix it up. The Gen 1s all have huge EMPs. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna mix it up.
Yeah, my tactic was Demolition Blade, Super Missile. Those were my 2 plays.
That's a good. I love that super missile a lot.
For me, it was always Demolisher Blade and, it's like a spread missile, the missile attack where you move your unit to wherever it is and it hits in a giant radius.
Yeah, multi-lock, the Robotech
Yes.
Missile Blitz.
Yes. That was fantastic because if anything was strong enough to not die to that, I have a solution.
I think it was maybe 25 to 30% of matches ended with Fuyusaka getting MVP for Sentry Gun. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the sentry
that's what I
guns
was
are
gonna
ridiculous.
say.
Yeah, I didn't get awoken to the Sentry Gun until like the 3rd set of levels, and I'm like, wait, she
Oh,
can put out
man.
like 8.
That's how I play everything. So I had all
Or not
three of them as often as
Fuyusaka,
I
not
could.
Fuyusaka. I used I'm thinking of Shinonome,
Oh,
who has
yeah,
the
'cause she can drop
condenser
2.
that doubles them. It's like, I'll just
Oh.
put out 8.
Yes.
I think Juro also gets that. So I had him and Ryoko. Just giant, ridiculous amount of cannons.
Yes, that's
I
important.
don't think Juro drops the double.
I figured that out really early because I went, not only did you get like MVP, but you leveled up 4 times more than everyone else, and all I did was make you do one button.
Oh my god. So let me tell you about the last battle and my strategy in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just drop sentry guns as far out as you can
Mm-hmm.
and have Goto and Hijiyama, because they both can drop double interceptors. Spam interceptor and use the terminal to refill EP.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes,
always a
That
good
was
move.
it. That was the whole battle.
Refill EP is very good when you're like, there. I want to do another super missile, but it's gonna take all my EP, so we're gonna fill it. And sometimes you get into the rotation of super missile, refill EP, instant team cooldown, super missile.
Yeah, no, that stuff
That's
gets
a valid
broken.
strategy.
I think it's the second to last mission where you have to take on the actual big boys, because the final mission is just an insanely long battle, correct?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
just
the
survive.
second to
Yeah,
last
that's-
one's the high quad EX.
Yeah.
Yes. So the second to last one, it became this insane blitz of, okay, We're going to use these rail cannons to help you clear the path. Run straight to them and tear them open.
I like how they were like, we're going to be bastards on this last map. And they're like, all right, there's the boss. We're now going to summon EX versions of the shield guys on the left and right side just to twist the knife a little bit.
Yeah. It turns out sentry guns.
Yes.
Yeah. I decided to just use the super large missiles on them when I realized dropping the super large missile on the boss, that the boss just shoots it, so it just doesn't hit
I
it.
just used the EMP from the terminal, which turned off all their shields, and then used the super missile.
Yeah, I did that.
Pretty great.
That's some good stuff.
I'll tell you, by the end, Yuki, when you got her buffs going, where like she's alone and she's surrounded and she travels and then does pile bunker, that shit was taking some health off of bosses.
For one of the bosses, I just had one of the flying units like Yuki sit just out of their range, firing their energy blasts. You know, like they get the beams.
Oh, the convergent beams.
It took quite a few turns, but I was like, gosh, he's going to die eventually. He can't do anything.
This'll work.
Was I the only one that was kind of shocked and disappointed when they went, oh shit, they learned how to make their own Sentinels, and then those enemies were some of the easiest enemy types to deal with in the game.
Their explanation for those enemies confused me for a little bit, and I had life harder for myself for a little bit, because they said, yeah, if you deal less than this much damage, it just deals nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That doesn't apply to multi-hit attacks. So I thought the Decimator blade couldn't just rip through them because it's a bunch of attacks. No, it just goes through them like cheese.
No, it means stuff like the SMG shot she'll do that are like for really weak enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll do that, and it's just 40 zeros appear across the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything that is really, really weak like that. In fact, I think one attack kind of like the multi-lock also got, a per missile debuff on damage. And I was like, oh, shit. I guess I'm going to have to use one of my 3 rail cannons.
Oh, whatever will I do? And I used the gravity missile, so they're all in one clump.
Yeah, I never did mess with those. I was kind of sad, but they didn't fit into my rotation.
Did anyone else try and keep the whole brain? You know how you're supposed to chain up by not resetting people?
Yes.
Did anyone else do that for the entire game?
I think I did it through 3 matches at any point, and I was like, okay, I want to experiment with getting this group set up the exact way I want, so I don't want to lock in and have to make decisions based on the scoring mechanic. So I mostly didn't do it like more than 2 in a row. Did anyone else really try to combo that?
I kept a combo for the entire game.
Okay, that's what I did.
It really puts a mind game on you.
If I loaded up a mission, it was like, you need to use this person that you don't have. I just went and redid the first mission with 2 people.
Yeah, no, it's that I had to do that once, I think.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't really look at the extra objectives at all.
Because I would just put one of the super missile people in and be like, you can clear this entire map in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
See, I thought of it as a sort of like, to me, that mechanic felt like Dragon's Crown's mechanic, where it's just like, yeah, you want to, go through, you want to party rock the whole countryside, so that way you get a tons of experience. And at some level, I was like, game, I already feel too powerful. I don't need to be even stronger than this. This is unhinged levels of difficulty. I legitimately felt bad I didn't set it to hard. Like, I wish I had.
Yeah, I think the only difficulty I really got was trying to use that system, because that limited what I could do. I'd often go into battle with 3 DIs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my copy comes in, I haven't messed with... It's my understanding that after you beat the game, there's like infinite procedural battles afterward.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I need to order my copy so I can start doing that on hard.
Yeah.
Because I just, like, every time it's like, S, I'm like... all right. Like, it's super fun. It just wasn't hard.
It did feel cool, the whole brain overload thing where you have to think about, okay,
Yes.
you're doing this in like 5 mission clumps, because on the 5th one, there's always going to be a boss map where they turn up the heat a little bit. So my brain had to go, all right, I need to space this out so specifically that the best possible people are going to be on the 5s.
Mm.
And then I think for the final mission, I finally just went, you know what? Heal everybody up. It's the last one.
Yeah. It felt like a mechanic that used to be compulsory and they backed off on it.
Yeah, it definitely could have been that. All I know is the next time I do a playthrough of this game, I'm just going to set it for hard mode. And then, chances are if I'm doing it another time, I'm doing it for content. So the hardest decision is, do I go in with a thing saying, hey, I've beaten the game and I'm just patently going to talk about what the ending is. So that way, the whole way through, I'm working through, does this revelation make sense? Does this mean anything?
It's so rough in the middle when people keep discovering shocking truths that are blatantly contradictory.
Yes. It's really funny because multiple different characters have that moment simultaneously, and you're like, I just came from that guy. That doesn't.
This really
like
doesn't
somebody
compare.
say this, and then they'll say this, and Amaguchi's like, "Bro, we're on a spaceship, all right."
No, we're in another dimension.
I think.
Wait, there's time travel. No, wait, there's not. No, wait.
This isn't a Walmart. It's a Kmart.
Oh,
This changes everything.
it's a really bold strategy to just be like, you won't be able to figure out what is actually going on because we're going to give you 80 contradictory possibilities, all of which could be real.
Not necessarily. There are many. I guess they could be real, but if one of them's real, the other one's rendered moot entirely. I think the one epiphany that just fell completely flat to me is when Shu rides out to the edge of the city.
See,
No.
that one confused.
Not for me,
that
at
one
least.
actually tricked me.
I was like, this can't be. None of the rest of this matches up with this one moment. The notion that it is. By that point in the game, I had realized that it was just going to keep ripping off layers. So that was the one in the entire game where there was no buy-in from me. Where I'm like, there's no way.
Oh wow, no,
See, that one made me actually redo my entire idea.
That scene preceding it where they go, yeah, everyone has the exact same memories of vacations where they did the exact same things.
it's
Yes.
straight up Dark City.
Yes, that was neat, and yes, it is. Thank you for saying that. It had some neat ideas, but I just didn't buy it for a fucking second. Is the problem? I was like, something about how this matches up, and I wish I could remember whose story I had just come from, because that is a huge part of why.
Yeah, I think that you ended up doing that one super late because I remember when I got there, I was also kind of like, oh, okay, that. Then I thought of a lot of things that could go around that, but you were near the end of the game, so you were like, I'm just upset.
I was just staring at the fucking Juro Izumi's fucking 2188 profile image where I'm like, nah, it's bullshit. Oh man.
Yeah, God, the order that you do things just makes this so much fun. Where I'm like, what was the big first huge revelations for me? And it was because I did Natsuno and Yuki. The first big things were, oh, there's a dude who just jumps into androids and has Juro's name, and also we're not on Earth. I got that scene where they're like, yeah, they're not on Earth. You might not be human.
I think for me, the first major epiphany, maybe it's not the first one, but it's just one of the most shocking ones in the game, is Future Hijiyama is ripped.
Yes.
Unbelievably brick house shaped.
Look.
That dude could crush Guile into a small cube.
Yes. He likes to get pegged.
He first shows up in the game, and I'm like, why is this 40-year-old wearing a high school uniform? And then you go back and do his thing, and he's talking to Keitaro, and I'm like, bro, is he actually in high school? What?
Look, they were built different, especially him.
Specifically him.
Yeah, it's like Miura looks like a relatively normal person. He's just standing next to a guy who's 7 feet tall. call it Jack.
Well, yeah, he's 1 year older. Obviously,
He's an
Mira looks like a year.
Yeah, he's an upperclassman, don't you know?
Miura's over there JoJo posing.
So, does Chihiro get the most characters in this game?
I think so.
Yeah.
She's at least 4 different people, I think. I don't know. It's just funny because some people get 3, some people only get 2.
There's
weirdly,
4. There's
okay.
4 Chihiros.
I mean, her, Izumi, and then even.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
Tomi
who other.
also gets like 3.
Tomi gets
426 is a bunch of people.
Right, and that's so Juro wins by default.
That's true. That's true.
I think there's only 3 Kisaragis.
Right, I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before I had a good grasp on Chihiro at all, I was doing Ogata's story.
Yeah.
So you go on that train where suddenly characters warp into her, and then she warps into the catsuit form, and then that dude says the League of Darkness, and I almost blacked out.
Yes.
I started cackling like, what the fuck is going on? Because I was afraid that was going to be something important.
Uh-huh.
That would have been
And I'm
really
like,
funny.
And I'm like, that's way too fucking much.
For some reason, I instantly assumed he just said something stupid.
More like Ninja Ogata. Fucking Xeon was over here when I was playing through a section with Ogata, and I was saying, like, you know, usually when you've got the delinquent character, like they're going to go into like a soft side or intellectual side or like some sort of gap personality. I'm pretty sure Ogata is just this motherfucker to his toes.
Yep.
And I am here for it.
Yep.
And I was right.
I love him so much because there's so many moments where I feel like other media would make him even stupider. Like when he starts doing the loop, when his entire first chunk, his like whole story is just the movie Source Code, the iconic film from 2011, where he does the loop again. And I feel like in any other like Japanese game, they go, "What's happening? I don't understand this." He's like, "Oh, this again? Okay."
He's exactly stupid enough in the right ways.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's like, I'm gonna call the girl I like a name. Oh shit, she remembers I did that. Even years later.
So about false leads, okay? The one thing in this game that really fucking got me, like absolutely, you're seeing false positives that moment. So there's the whole DD426 thing, and it's like you need to take this medicine in order to treat that, and it's like, oh, 426, that's like that other number. Oh my god. Then the fact that these pills are called oral NM must have something to do with Natsuno. No.
Oh my god, that didn't even hit my mind. That would have ruined me.
I pick up the pills and they're like oral NM number, and I'm like, oh, what does she have to do with nothing? Like, oh my god, you made me feel stupid.
I don't like the pill animation in this. Because when you hang around Shinonome, a character that was built to job in every scene she's in, that bitch has 40 pills a minute, and it just bothered me. I'm like, that's too. What? Come on.
Well, she's dying, KZ.
She has more pills than water in there.
She's dying.
I think the false positive that had me going for a long time was, okay, this is obviously transportation, not time travel. But I was, for a moment, I was like, each of these zones is just a different planet. Like they've colonized all these different planets.
So
it might was like going full galaxy wide with this. Like, this could be really cool, and then they had to bring me back down to Earth a little bit.
So here's the thing: I had the same thought, but it wasn't planets; they were colony ships.
Oh, okay.
I was like, there's got to be like that. Obviously, that Juro Kurabe or Izumi fucking escaped from another one. He escaped from a different colony and has now boarded this one. So I was on the same tangent, but a different fucking version. Where I was just like, okay, so they got like multiple of these, and they keep just going apeshit, and clearly they keep injecting the Deimos code into each one.
I guess I didn't.
And that's what it occurred to me, but not different planets. For some reason, I guess I played it in an order where I never thought these were fully established planets until, once you start finding out shit's up.
Yeah, I mean, where it was all colonization equipment, that's what made me think, okay, these are actually planets for a little bit. They actually successfully terraformed them,
yeah.
And now those are coming back to kit them.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind the thing we were talking about earlier of, something happens in the past, and then that's when you start to think, okay, so this isn't time travel. That was the thing that confirmed it wasn't time travel to me. So from pretty early on, I assumed this was just transportation across a vast distance. For some reason, I assumed it was just spaceship based, and maybe that was because one of the time periods was a UFO. Part of that made me think, okay, so this is beneath the city in every time. Maybe that's another reason the revelation that the city isn't a full planet, that it's just the city, didn't land for me. From early on, I was just assuming this wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why, though.
I went with the simulation thing at first, but then because of the city thing and the UFO being in every timeline, I went, okay, the people are simulations, but this is like a set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for a little while I was going with the holodeck
Yeah,
solution.
that was where I was like, the main characters are real, everybody else is a simulation, and this is like some big set.
There was one line, I believe in Tomi Kisaragi's story, it might have been Iori, where they're like, okay, I guess it was Iori, because I think it's one of the future characters is telling her that she needs to leave this time period. Her parents aren't real. It was like, okay, does she mean they aren't her real parents, or do they mean that they're just not real at all?
See, I think the number one reason I never saw the simulation thing coming is because it undid so many different layers of plot twists and made them really stupid in retrospect. Where I was like, clearly this can't be a Matrix situation. That would make so much of it stupid.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the whole thing was a simulation. Like, okay, I have several questions about things that were included in the simulation.
Yes.
Let me tell you about Tsukasa and how fucking stupid he is.
It turns out that it was just hacked together by Okino over a weekend. Who knows what else he borrowed code from?
God, now I'm trying to remember. What's the name of the sleaze bag that's Shuho Amaguchi from the last timeline?
Tetsuya Ida.
Tetsuya Ida.
Mm-hmm.
Cool guy.
No.
Misunderstood.
Not at all.
Now,
Oh, okay.
his motivation to me only makes sense if he doesn't know it's a simulation. But I feel like he does. Because if he doesn't know that it's simulated, then him making a robot body for Tomi makes perfect sense, and caring about that whole aspect of it, like it's a problem that she's a robot. But if he knows it's a simulation and they're all data, then what's it matter?
Because
I don't think he knew during most of the game.
Yeah, I mean the way they treat Sector 0 seems to be no one really fucking understands.
Right. Where I think there was something really near the end that put me into question if Tetsuya Ida knew how that worked.
Like that last scene where post everybody getting out, he might have known.
Right. Like after that, he knew for sure. But I mean, I could have sworn there was something when he took the robot body that made it a little bit more obvious of like, oh yeah, this is how it works. But I guess at that point he's already dead, so whatever.
Yes, technically. God. Yeah, so about that question of why did you put all these things in, like Sector 0?
It's a video game.
Okay, that's...
Well, Sector 0 is part of Universal Control, isn't it?
But why does Sector 0 allow these people who are living people in pods to upload their consciousness to get carried over a cycle?
Because this was some last-minute hacked-together shit. Built by 15 people on a space station after the world ended.
See, until he said built on a space station, I thought he was describing Vanillaware.
There could also be that could be there because of the original hero doing something and to get her data there. So maybe that she left a sector for that. Because there is that one line from, like, the only thing we see from original Tetsuya Ida in olden times is him noticing that data has been altered and telling everyone they're hypocrites and recording that.
That is pretty fucking funny.
just angry.
I love that every version of Tetsuya Ida is just, as KZ said, crying Wojak, or just bitter, thin-skinned, angry, jilted. But Shu Amaguchi isn't, because he's privileged bullshit, man.
I feel like original Tetsuya Ida, we don't know enough. He could have been a fine dude.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we know is that he betrayed Ryoko, which might be totally made up because she's insane.
I remember like reading one of their like interviews of spoilers where they're like, yeah, the real Ida just has all the worst qualities of all versions of him.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Shu has a line from a previous loop when he's talking to Kisaragi, where he's like, yeah, no, I changed my whole who I was in middle school because, you said you like guys like this.
Yes, that's true.
I'm gonna pace my entire life around that, even when I'm 45.
Yes.
Bob,
what's up?
How come you were like defending the sovereignty of specific versions of people, but future Ryoko, you're like, that bitch is crazy?
She comes off as crazy even in the recordings.
I know, it's funny.
I think she only gets one recording.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she gets...
That's the one where she's broken down like, I'm gonna kill humanity because this guy dumped me. So yeah, that's pretty out there.
I don't know. That seems balanced. That seems on the level.
None of the like half of the originals just seem completely insane. Like
Yuki Takamiya is still cool in the future.
Like
20 million years in the past.
Sekigahara.
Where he's just like,
is amazing.
He's a professional.
Based. I'm gonna go kill 20% of humanity. Be right back.
For no reason, for some weird assassin's honor.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's not he didn't just shoot her. He's like, I'm gonna blow up this whole fucking space station.
Money doesn't exist anymore, but I have to finish my contract.
Hey,
he killed all of humanity. He wanted her dead.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? He's the coolest. I thought he was the coolest playing through the game. His future version's great too.
Imagine the world ending, but you're still trying to fulfill your Uber app.
Well, think about it this way. Like there's 15 people on this space station. If you do the math, if you look at the chart, none of them are going to fuck A. One of those people is directly responsible for the brain machine thing that destroyed the planet.
Yes.
I think I might take Space Titanic down and like puff a cigarette and do a cool one-liner before Oblivion takes us all.
Yeah, when it's all the way at that extent, that's when it makes sense. When it's just like one of them's literally responsible for all of humanity perishing. That's when it makes any level of sense that this man is this committed to get that pizza there on time. Yes. That pizza that'll fucking kill whoever he delivers it to.
When the deliverator hits the gas, shit happens.
I like how I saw the future Shinonome thing so early, I forgot it happened. Or thankfully I made videos of this, so I was able to track, like, when did I see this? Okay, it was around this point. And then when I read the interviews, it's like, what happened to her? It's like, she was the last one of the future characters to be alive, most likely. And Kamitami says some shit like, she would ask Ida for them to commit suicide together, and he said he would say no, and that she was stupid.
Yeah, I told you, original Ida's based.
Yeah, I can respect that.
She dumped me for not committing suicide with him.
So what you can assume is that you can assume that future recording of her is after he does that.
Mm-hmm. Except for Vlog Shinonome. Like, Shinonome and the rest of the game, I usually despise her character type.
Okay.
Constantly injured, waifish girl, hopped up on pills with a brain problem. They just make every story they're in drag ass. But then Shinonome keeps pulling out her goddamn phaser and capping motherfuckers.
Yes! But you get it!
That was the great part. But for so long, I kept running into her and she kept not achieving anything, and it was really funny. Where she'd either pass out or like shit her pants or completely fail.
I'm like, God damn it, Ray, just take a nap.
But then in the back half, I started getting the other ones where it's like, oh shit, this is a problem. This is the problem. One of the best scenes in the early part of the game you're playing is Natsuno, and you go inside the fucking locker room, and Shinonome's there, and she's like, I gotta hide. So she just crouches, and you still clearly see her the entire time, and it's the most pathetic stealth attempt I've ever seen.
It's really funny.
Which is paid off because in that same episode chunk, she ambushes you and shoots you.
Yep. I'm totally there with you, Aggro. Like, normally this character archetype, not a huge fan, but the fact that, especially once you start playing her story, it's just like, no, she's gonna keep shooting people.
I think the worst part is she can't remember she's done it.
That
part is its own thing, but
the longer the game goes on, the better it gets when characters run into her, and she's like, she's reverted back to base programming Shinonome, and they're like, what the fuck, Shinonome? We talked about this.
Yes, that's incredible.
Those are really great moments of, wait, you still like this? You killed that guy.
And she's
like, Takamiya, why did you do it? And Takamiya's like, because you fucking told me to, you crazy bitch.
Yes. God, that was good. One of the last plot twists in the game, I wanted to talk about it real quick. So you spend the whole game seeing, Juro Kurabe, future Juro, ripped as shit, right? And you're like, man, this 17-year-old kid or whatever, he apparently gets shredded within like 10 years. This is hilarious. Then they show the shot of him getting out of the pod and he's just as shredded, and you're like, wait a second. What?
Yeah, the pod works him out. That's why they have to wait so long. Like, they can't get out of the pod to kill that moment.
It's the Master Chief.
These teenagers, they were grown to be masters of a new planet. These aren't mere pod people. These are pod lords.
I'm in hell. I'm gonna be saying that anytime 13 Sentinels comes up. It's like, you should play it. The Sentinels jack off the characters inside, and it makes them really strong.
So what you're telling me is this future planet, this perfect planet full of shredded teenagers running it, who are by the end of the game canonically about 20, 21, 22, they're going to make an artificial light form android sort of thing for Miwako to live in, and everyone but Miwako's shredded. That's what you're telling me.
I'm telling you that Miwako is the best NPC in that fucking game.
Yes, this is true. That is why we gave her best companion.
She is thick and she is thirsty.
She's so fucking thirsty. It's funny.
I don't think we can give away the other thing she was involved with in Game of the Year to Aggro.
Yeah, that's true. We have to wait. He has to be surprised.
Okay, she comes up.
Well, she does. Some people had issues.
Don't worry. They'll figure out how to grow human bodies for Miwako. Okay, Dan. And she'll also be shredded somehow, but also still thick.
Okay, so speaking of Miwako, when you're doing Iori's endless catfishing cycle with her, Miwako, and Kisaragi, I had something of an epiphany.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up right now, Aggro. I'm just gonna need you to abort this fucking thought process. I'm leaving. I'm no longer involved with this. Goodbye.
Wait, what? Oh God.
Yeah, you're right.
He posted a picture. That's horrible.
You fucking nailed it. Put it in the video.
Fuck off.
But am I wrong though?
Fuck off. Fuck you. This is the worst it has ever been.
This is why I was like, yeah, we totally need Aggro in here. We need another fresh perspective that'll really supercharge this thing.
I am blessed because I don't immediately recognize it.
These are the Chipettes from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I thought it might be something like that, but I couldn't bring up any image in my head.
Wow.
Fuck you, Aggro.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Now, this analogy can go deeper
I don't
Okay.
want it to.
because
Go
Dave
ahead. That's what
Seville,
this is for.
who found the chipmunks, just made them his slaves to save his musical career. That's pretty much a direct parallel to Tetsuya Ida.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a really paralleled original Chihiro Morimura was making these clones so that she could take them over.
Speaking of which, I believe it's now an appropriate moment for me to be emotionally vulnerable. When I found out that Iori and Minamori and all that shit, like that they were a single person, that slapped me upside the fucking head. I had no hint of that when I got to it. Some character just like, oh yeah, that's her. Fuck.
Yeah, the only thing where I got a hint of the first hint I got about Morimura was, oh, you saw these documents that it really sounds like she's gonna try and implant herself into Iori. Like Morimura's just gonna do that for some reason. I don't know why.
I guess he just
She
didn't
has
early
to
on.
become 16 again so she can appeal to Tetsuya Ida.
Oh no! Early on, Aggro did not get the entry on woman similar to Chihiro Miramura.
This is a very important entry.
No, I did not. Yeah.
I like that the final mystery file, or not final, but one of the last mystery files at the bottom says the truth. And if you look at it, it just looks like it could be the background for a Dragon's Crown setting.
Yeah.
Except for a very small amount of detail that you go, okay, that's technology. It's just this meadowy plains and mountains and rivers and shit. And I'm like, this is good. I like this. I wonder how long until Vanillaware makes another game. Like, because this took a really long time.
This took a really long time. I'm hoping they had something else.
I think they've insinuated that they were working on something else as well. But who knows how early in development that is.
I really like this game, but looking at it, I don't understand why it took them 6 years. Or was it only five?
Their team's small, and they were also like remaking Odin Sphere.
Yeah, I was gonna say it took them 8, and they remade Odin Sphere at the same time, and did the pro version of Dragon's Crown. So they were doing other things, but took a while.
Maybe there was a ton of ironing out how this story works together. Because I see games that trip over themselves doing 2 characters at once.
Yeah,
this had to do 13.
I too have played AAA games, Bob.
Yeah.
It was my understanding that this game was very different at first, and then they had to retool it.
It's.
I don't know if we ever had confirmation on that, or it's just people guessing, including us.
Yeah, because they took forever, so you assume,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this game has so many plot twists and so many characters. It's shocking that it handles itself as well as it does. You would expect by the end of this, you would just have a list of legitimate plot holes.
Yeah.
Not plot debuffs of none of these twists matter.
A sane video game with 13 characters would have a bunch of scenes that are the exact same on everyone instead of less than 5.
I mean, you get to a point where you start re-seeing them. I think every character has at least 1 or 2, maybe 3, depending on who you're playing as. But they're so brief. No, they're brief.
Yeah,
they exist.
Yeah, they must
because
be really brief.
Yeah, it's less than. I would say it's less than 2 minutes for each of them. But yeah, you made that comment before I finished the game, and then my brain noticed every time it happened. So it's not a ton though. It's not much of the 32 hours of game. But you do redo some scenes, but of course, perspective makes it different.
Yeah, it's usually with a radically different perspective.
I feel like every time you redo a scene, which is very rare, it's to show you, why is there one less character? Why is there one more character? Why is there a cat here that wasn't there with that other character versus why is there some blonde asshole here who isn't there with other characters?
I think my favorite one of them was when they pan a little bit to the right, and then there's a dumpster with a robot in it.
Yes, oh my god!
And you just realize, wait, how long ago was the Kakamiya one?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, when
No.
is Juro's
Yeah.
Exactly.
story?
That was
When did this happen is the best part of the
that
game.
was the best gut punch on Jiro's entire campaign of this was the first one, probably. Like, fucking what?
God, every time you finish a scene, you're like, okay, oh shit, then this is going to happen immediately after. Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited.
I was.
I know that me, Dan, Phil, and KZ all looked at the extra special ending after you get everything. That's like super tiny. Did you see that, Agra?
Oh, the one at the bottom of the red screen?
Yes.
Yes. Believe you me, when I had bought all of the mystery files and didn't get that trophy, I went hunting around those screens and I found that.
Yeah.
Start sniffing it out.
What's up?
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the dinner that Megumi Yakashiji made all the time for Juro, and it's like, God damn it, Vanillaware, stop drawing such tasty goddamn food.
The weird thing
Right?
is this might have less tasty looking food than Dragon's Crown and Odin, not Odin Sphere, Murmasa.
But
Because those
I
have
mean,
an
Odin
insane
Sphere
amount.
had a lot of.
Yeah,
Odin Sphere had an
Odin Sphere
insane
has
amount.
loads.
That's your primary form of leveling up in Odin Sphere.
that's
It-
true.
It does, but there's like 13 shops in Murmasa. They're just everywhere.
Yeah,
Although
doing certain stories really late made it so I saw almost no food except yakisoba pan until like 75% of the way through the game.
Oh, that's funny. But here's the thing, Bob.
Yeah.
Here's what you're not taking into account. All the food that is in this looks so much tastier because it's 4K. Like, look across this room right now at this pear tart.
I mean, it's a good pear tart.
It is an amazing looking pear tart. Now look at this hamburger. That's really good hamburger.
I bought some ground pork. I need to make hamburger.
I've been tempted.
It's man. Fucking Vanillaware is really landing it. You know, I said it a billion times during Game of the Year and other podcasts, but I haven't brought it up once here. This is one of my favorite soundtracks in gaming in a really long time. It does not shock me that the lead of the team of composers on this is the guy who made both Final Fantasy Tactics and Gradius 5 soundtrack. It is amazing. I love the damn thing. Definitely my favorite soundtrack since Astral Chain. Which, hey, isn't it great to have an amazing soundtrack that isn't attached to a giant disappointment?
Yeah.
It's pretty
I'm like,
fucking
here
good.
it comes.
Pretty fucking good. I'm like, here's the song that plays during this disappointing scene. Oh.
You know, I one small detail early on when you do, I think it's the prologue for Miura, and everything's on fire, and there's giant tripods going, and he goes, that must be those American weapons.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is real
I'm like-
good.
And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
The moment he unlocked, it's like this, like, Keitaro Miura. And I'm like, my brain went, that's close enough to Kentaro Miura for this guy to be my best friend forever.
I thought the funniest entry in the mystery files is Dog Chin. But they just show you the illustration of the dog and try to explain the insult.
Yeah, it's very informative and accurate.
Cause yeah, it says dog face as the entry, and then it shows you an illustration of a really derpy dog just looking at the perspective, and it says Japanese chin.
Did anybody play this in Japanese?
No.
No, actually, I didn't. I'm really glad they delayed it. What was it? 2 weeks to get the dub in?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
I mean, it was
that's
a
important.
kick-ass dub.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it was, being delayed because of the COVID and everything. So
Yeah.
it's better that they just got that in there. Because I don't think I could go through all of this without the dub. But just doing a visual novel like that's a little bit much.
It would have been a lot harder.
If I hadn't been like, okay, I have to chug this in 2 days, I might have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, because that then it would require my entire attention, and I would burn out.
So large scale, structurally speaking, I until the tutorial, which how many hours is the tutorial?
Hold up. I'll get
like-
you something solid on that in a second.
Oh, you're gonna check your videos.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list here. 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, I spent that whole time, like, easing into the game thinking, I don't know if I like this format for storytelling, the moving around and keep clicking through dialogue. It seems like a little forced and stale, and I don't know. The moment the character ring opened up, it was like, oh.
The thought bubble.
This is going to be good.
Yes.
Because it's a goddamn miracle that they've got, the nominal 13 characters, and for the most part, every one of them feels structurally different enough.
Yes.
In the way they go through their stories, especially when you click on Eiseki Gahara for the first time, and he just fucking wakes up like Eden of the East, like, yeah, I'm naked and I've got a gun. What do I do?
Yes. Oh God.
Why is everything that I do and every time I show up the coolest shit?
Yes, because like the first time I think he shows up in Iori's story, or she shows up in his. I don't. Anyway, they bump into each other in front of the school, and he picks up her student ID. And, she's like, oh, she blushes a little bit. I'm like, okay, so she thinks A's cute. Why wouldn't she? The next time I saw them together was after a bunch of shit had happened that I didn't see. And Iori is just full-on meltdown ditz mode of like, oh, hi, A, let's go do whatever you want. And I'm like, what the fuck, Iori? You're the level-headed one. This is disgusting. But then I saw the scene where, like, they both beat up a Fed together and she hops on his Decepticon motorcycle and they peace out from the cops. And I'm like,
No.
Okay, yeah, no, I'd act like that too.
Yeah, you would.
A Decepticon motorcycle is a really big buff.
Yeah, I need you. You reminded me of the fucking Decepticon motorcycle. Because of course I recorded this for an LP, and I was going through it, and I'm like, let me do the thought bubble for this key, and you do it, and I'm like, I was hoping it'd like give you a beep or something to maybe give you an idea. Maybe you have to be in the location, and as the thought bubble menu's up, I see the bike roll into frame in the game, and I just went, oh. And just fucking lost it. I'm like, this is the coolest shit ever.
Right? What? He's like, motorcycle, I have lost my memories. How rad am I? And the motorcycle's like, you are so fucking rad.
He's like, I knew it.
Did I send myself future past clues?
Do you think?
Yes, you did.
Do you think George Kamitami was just like, Knight Rider's raw? I'm gonna make a bike.
Is Knight Rider a piece of fiction? Then yes.
So the UI in this game is mirror fucking polished.
Yes.
Like the thought bubble is an amazing mechanic the way it's implemented. It takes a whole lot. Like it acts both as your inventory, as your recap, because it highlights if you just listen to 3 out of these 10, it'll catch you up if you haven't come back to this thing in a while. I'll tell you though, I accidentally hit R2, which is the one that switches auto advance on and off, and did not figure that shit out for like 2 hours.
Oh, I have extreme like fidgeting, so I just kept smashing that button the whole game to hear it go boop.
Oh, I would just hit it so I could breathe.
Oh yeah, it was a great just in the middle to just go do stuff.
Yeah, where they say something and I'm like, let me hit this. Hold on a second.
And the fact that like you hit the trackpad to bring up a whole dialogue record that will read out every line in voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I really enjoyed the thought bubble early on because the very first thing where you're playing as Juro, you have one that's like, oh, here's a videotape, and he just pulls out an immaculate VHS and looks at it and says the name. I'm like, yeah, keep doing that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love that.
I thought that pullout was like non-diegetic until I'm playing Eiseki Gahara and I'm like, I go to think about the phaser and there's a cop standing nearby and he's like, hey kid. It was like, what the shit?
That made me lose it. I'm
yeah,
like,
that
oh my
me.
God, I'm an idiot. Of course this would happen. I pulled out a gun.
I did not get that. That's really great.
It was
I love the difference.
so good.
between the characters who just have a list of straight lines to go through, and how it's just a few of them that have the Groundhog Day loop. I mean, not like Reggie Ogata literally looping, but having to just restart back and forth with new information and getting to unlock it like a puzzle.
Yeah.
For a bit there, I was confused as to, wait, are they stuck in some sort of weird time loop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I didn't
my
know if
problem.
it was part of the time travel.
Or if it was just, oh, this is the next day, but...
It's the next day, but also not. But also, it's way cheaper if we make the game like this.
Right.
It seemed to be kind of a mix, and I thought that was gonna large scale tie into like there's nanomachines going on with these people's heads, and somebody's fucking with memories, and I thought that was gonna be all tied into that.
Yeah, see, and it kind of almost is for Juro, but no one else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
God.
doing, what was it, Natsuno and Yuki's stuff, where they have that, where it's, you're going to start in the same location over and over again, and the flowchart looks like that, so when you play other flowchart games, like the Zero Escape ones, where clearly it's going to like, go forward every time, it made me go, is this really like that? And then it just realized, no, it's just, there are multiple things you're going to do in this location. It's not going to actually matter. That confused me a little bit. And also Yuki's thing where it took me like 15 minutes to go, oh, I have to go in the thought cloud and examine the notebook and examine a word to put it in the thought cloud, which will replace another word.
Yeah, that was new and interesting.
So I just couldn't progress because I was like, I've done everything. I've gone up and down this room 8 times.
Oh my God. I thought to myself, what in this world could make Yuki Takamiya better? And then, air quotes, Erica Iba showed up to be her sidekick, and I'm like, this is the greatest game that has ever been made.
She was already born with the greatest walk cycle of all time.
Erica, I was just like, you should throw her off the roof. Like, just don't suffer this for even 1 second.
Like, is that juice for me? No.
L.
God, even by the time you're introduced to her there, it's like, you're obviously fake. Like, there's no way this is real. I know who you really are. What's this?
I didn't know who she really was. I just didn't trust her for fucking shit.
Yeah,
well, I guess didn't know who she was, but knew she wasn't who she said she was, because we know that that's Tome Kurabe. Or Tomo?
Tamao.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what's up with this? This can't be
I
right.
didn't make the connection. It had been too long. I didn't recognize her.
That whole breakdown with her was one of the first major things I got, which was, oh yeah, it's just she's an android and we're gonna shoot her. She's gonna jump off a fucking bridge, which I got in the same 30 minutes in which they said that they're not on Earth. So
Jesus.
I felt like I was going insane. Yeah, I did that, and I'm like, I need a break. Let me do Natsuno's and see what's going on with her. And they're like, you're not real.
You're an alien, Natsuno.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds great. Well, all right.
That's a high school.
Early on, that's the early thing that always makes me go insane, where something climactic happens. It's like, oh no, those aliens are going to kill you now, Natsuno, at the end of your first one. What happens next? Okay, she's back in the gym room. Everything's okay. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? What is this game doing? Because I'm like, that's like 3 hours in for me. Is it just all gonna be like this?
Man, see, once
Rising tension arc is for cowards.
See, that fell into the last 10 hours of the game for me. So I had a completely different reaction to it.
Yeah, that I also went Natsuno, then Miura, and then kind of just went back and forth between them until maybe do other stuff. So I saw a lot of that stuff early on.
Oh man,
I was kind of disappointed every time I went back to the character wheel that Takatoshi Hijiyama was always locked off.
Yes,
because his story has 2 jokes in it, and they hit every time.
That one that just ends with him just falling under the CBT spell for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh my god, come on.
this is terrible.
Together.
This is terrible. Your brain disagrees.
It's like I'm trying to cope. It's like Okino's voiced by original Ash Ketchum. And there's a lot going on here. I lost it when I did Goto's prologue, and then they said, "Do everyone else."
Yes.
Where I went,
everyone.
I'm like 80% of on 12 people. Well, not counting. Oh, that's that. Oh no.
Yeah.
And then you play, and then you go, "Oh, I get it now."
He's a Revelations man.
I really do appreciate that the game gives you a large amount of leeway with what characters you do in what order. Like, we were just talking about they lock off multiple people pretty hardcore, but most of the cast is pretty selectable at most moments. And I appreciate that because I cannot stress that I did not want to play Natsuno Minabe's fucking story because something about it immediately smacked to me, I'm not going to like this as much as the others, and I was right.
This is the smallest your brain has ever been.
It locked off most of them behind like wave 5 a couple of times. There were a couple of like soft blocks.
That's true.
You got far enough in the combat.
That's true, and that was fine, which is weird.
Really smart gatekeeping.
It's really weird because I thought I would really dislike the combat because it seemed like that was maybe the most ancillary part of this, like because of how long it was delayed. But no, like I enjoyed the combat. The only remotely negative emotion I had about the combat was when I'm enjoying a really good story and it's like, go do it. I'm like, oh God, I really should have just played every bit of the combat in this before touching the story, huh?
I think you can't even do that. I think each set gates you according to the story. I think they gate each other.
Oh, really?
They do.
Yeah, because the second area gated me till I got something else done.
Yeah, one of them's
And the later levels have good story in them too.
Yeah, you need to like do stuff with Amaguchi before you can do more of the battle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember there was a specific moment in that, because I don't know if we'll be jumping too much more into the battle stuff. I wanted to point out one of the top moments from that was when they're like, "All right, I'm gonna stay up here on the satellite and I'm gonna sing until the reception's dead," and then it actually does fall out eventually during that one fight.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the whole battle part of the game. It was really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was a great moment.
Yeah, that and the final fight, which I did wrong, and it made it more canon and exciting.
Oh yeah,
where they're like, you're 70% of the way because it's a survive type of situation, and then the music hits the hook, and I go, my terminal's at 20%, and there are missiles everywhere about to hit, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is what they want to happen.
Wow. I took terminal damage like once. In the game.
I didn't take terminal damage in the game.
I had Guardian sneak through and...
To be fair, Dan, this is the spoiler cast, so you're always going to be ripped.
I don't know what terminal damage looks or sounds like.
You played it on easy mode, whatever.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I played the first couple and I'm like, this is brain dead.
Yeah, I know. It was like before the game even started, you're like, I'm gonna play this on easy. I'm like, God, give it a chance.
I do want to go back for hard mode because it is mechanically fascinating.
It's like Field just didn't even want to have to try. He just wants to run through wet tissue and be like, I ran a marathon.
I mean, I thought about it for the combat.
Yeah, I decided that I only need to save that when it's like, I don't need it to be wet tissue when it's 4 barriers, but if it's 750, yes.
Right?
Thanks, Dragon Age.
So I wanted to ask, just to gauge the room, whose story did everybody clear first?
Oh my God, I don't know.
I don't know because I did things in the most boring way humanly possible.
Oh,
I'm gonna do everything I can, then hit right, and do everything I can and hit right, and do everything I can and hit right.
That's pretty big brain, honestly.
I did a lot of jumping around between like, okay, that ended there. Okay, maybe that person will interact. I just did a bunch of jumping after I got Nogata. Because like I got Yuki and I got locked off from Yuki, and I'm like, where the fuck is Ogata hiding? I saw you with him in somebody's story.
Yeah, I tended to stay with 2 to 3 people clumps and try to just stick to them as much as I could. So Ogata was the first one I finished.
Built.
Ogata's
wow,
is
nice.
really tiny, so that I even in the first one I finished, even though I didn't have the intention of.
Mm-hmm. It goes really, really fast if you're not an idiot and can't figure out how to do it.
This is a really specific thing you've said.
Okay, I'll just take it.
Man, I spent so fucking long. I'd go do somebody else's story for a while, come back, try it a couple more times. Like, God damn it! What the fuck am I supposed to do?
What's funny is I did his over the course of like a sitting. Where I'm like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I like this. I'm all right with this. They're like, do battles now. Okay, I'm gonna do it, and then go right back to what I was doing with you.
I keep watching a YouTube video that's just all of the endgame Sentinel activation scenes in a row because it's the coolest goddamn thing.
Is there anything anyone wanted to bring up before we close out this spoiler cast? Because, of course, I could literally spend a whole day talking about this game.
Yeah.
But at a certain point...
Forever.
Literally.
we probably want
talk more about how Tetsuya Ishida's ideal goal is... Tetsuya Ida's goal is, I want to have a 16-year-old girl I can reset.
Yes. We could talk about how he's a giant piece of shit. We can absolutely do that.
Flawed,
hey,
but
Z,
understandable.
I'm so sorry you had to learn about Chobits this way.
What?
Aggro.
Oh no!
I don't know that much about Chobits. Aggro, is there a point where the guy is just like, oh fuck, I forgot her birthday. Better reset the timeline.
Now, Mr. Feel, this is a 13 Sentinels spoiler cast. We can't.
It seems important.
Do we want to sign on for a Chobit spoiler cast?
No. Vetoed.
As I fucking read the manga and go, oh, that didn't happen in it. Huh. That's weird. Anime
Reading
sucks.
mangas for cowards.
I love Feel being like Vito. Meanwhile, also Feel, let's do a cursed content on these 4,500 things.
Yeah, cursed content. 90 minutes. A 26 episode TV show. A lot more than that.
Bob, you were going to bring something up.
It's more in the same angle of Tetsuya Ida. We haven't talked much about Tomi's story, and I think hers really ties with his a lot.
Well, once again, we already put out that podcast, so I can say it. Tomi did get Best Character of 2020, so I think it makes sense that we talk about her more.
Dog face. Yeah, sorry you have to hear about this.
Wow.
I knew you'd have that
good.
reaction.
Oh no, she's fucking great. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I was incredibly invested in Tomi and Ogata's stories, especially related to each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the good shit.
Yeah, I think that that final scene with them, or him declaring his love for her, is still one of my funniest scenes in the game.
That's my favorite scene in the entire game.
Then he does it later when they're in the robots.
Yeah, when the robots, that's the best one.
Kisaragi, there's something I gotta tell you. I like you.
Now hold on. Seriously? Here? Now? You are such an ass. You have no idea how to do this.
Yeah, the comms are open.
He's like, I thought it was cool.
Ogata-kun, I thought you sounded kind of cool. Sorry, Karabe, but that shit just makes me feel even worse.
That was the best. Oh my god. I just love the apparently Juro Karabe is a personality that they built and imprinted on me, and you can kind of feel everybody else going like they made this. You're this way on purpose.
They didn't do it well.
Yeah, it feels like less you're this way on purpose and more like this is the only way it works.
It's the best we could achieve.
Listen. All projects are a compromise between time and resources. I do like at the very end where original timeline Juro or second timeline Juro, whichever one is is Cyberpunk Man.
That's original.
Is like, you're kind of a dipshit, but you're still sort of like me. I guess that's good enough. having 60% of an S rank is still pretty good.
It is it's super great that Goto is locked off for most of the game, and then his thing is just him standing in a park looking at his notebook, reading Chihiro the riot act of all the shit he figured out.
Just carpet bombing her.
Yeah, no, that
like,
shit
she's
was
like,
incredible.
I guess I have to kill you because you figured all that out. And he's like, guess what, bitch? I turned off your gun before we even started.
You just expect the case closed theme to start blaring.
A boomerang hits her in the back of the head.
Just this fucking Clamp character dropped in the middle of this shit.
I did not expect that to be what the story was about. I'm like, oh my god, he's just gonna blow this shit wide open over and over again.
Also, he apparently dumped Ryoko and isn't dead, so obviously he's pretty powerful.
I did love like the per loop shifting relationship chart. That was key shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, I thought his story at the end was going to be something like, okay, well, he's a crony, so we're just gonna spend his story watching him set up the shit. No, he's just blowing her ass out with this fucking. Here's my book. Funny thing about wiping my memories doesn't change what's on this page, you stupid bitch. Like, oh fuck, that's good. Well, I assume everyone's good to wrap this up.
Yuki Takamiya in a blazer is the hottest thing in the world.
Okay, well, I guess we have to get around to saying what we're going to give this game, our final thoughts, in the order of final thoughts, and then the score. We do a score out of 10, and this time, since we have Dr. Aggro, it has an extra 10 points it can go up. Don't ask me how that works out. Just don't. So we're going to start with Dr. Aggro, since he had such powerful thoughts at the end here. Go ahead, Dr. Aggro, with your final thoughts and score.
So, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. If you're one of those people that's on the periphery of that cycle of weird Japanese games your friends keep talking about, this is the one you want to actually bite the bullet and play. It's damn near perfect. It's one of those games that nails everything it sets out to do, and I think video games are better because it exists.
This is correct.
You're going to see a lot of pale imitations of this come out, and you know what? A lot of them are probably going to be fun. So I'm going to do the honest thing, and I'm going to give this game a 10.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to Bob.
Sure. I typically don't even like visual novels.
Oh, Bob.
What's up?
This isn't a visual novel. The arbiters of that said so.
Oh, okay. Then this is just a fantastic...
the owners of Visual Novel Database, after this shot up to the #1 visual novel of all time, had a meltdown and deleted the entry for saying it doesn't count.
Fuck you.
The new Soccer Wars, which has action scenes and shit, and is much less of a visual novel, that counts. But this doesn't because it's new and would have been the best rated one, and that's unacceptable.
Bullshit. That's bullshit.
You walk around during the story segments. It's an adventure game.
Oh my god!
One of my friends got the owner of that site so mad because you can submit things, and you know what made it pass for like an hour? The bouncer.
Jesus
People
Christ.
just putting in garbage in there just to fuck.
I mean, to be fair, if you're going to count Soccer Wars, fuck it. Just if you're going to count Soccer Wars, but not this, then whatever. This is a godless realm.
13 Sentinels isn't a visual novel. Here's something novel: you getting some bitches.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is I usually don't like this genre, whatever you want to call it. But this really pulled me in constantly. I loved like every single character. The art is immaculate. The soundtrack is great. I can't not give this a 10. it's clearly just a step above anything else in the genre.
Okay. We're going to move on to Mr. Feel.
I didn't expect to like this nearly as much as I did. I thought every single element of it was really great. I feel like it could be formatted a little bit better somehow. I feel like there's some sort of better balance between the combat segments and the story segments where it's not like do 10. Like, but it didn't really bother me because those are still fun.
I never had to do 10.
I had to do 10 a couple times because I'm just like, I'm going to do every single thing I can until it sends me to that combat section.
I feel like that's more of a personal problem.
Yeah, I saw some of the combat would take place in the modern timeline or something, not just all at the very end. So when I figured out that was the structure, I was like, okay, this is a little weird.
Yeah, that was that too. That also weirded me out. But I'm giving this a 10. Like, it's stellar. Every character is really well developed. The character designs are all knocked out of the park, and completely grounded, almost completely grounded. Like
They have
grounded
humanity.
to any anime.
Yes.
Like the music is incredible. It looks fucking astonishing. So, like I said, 10,
Okay.
which should be obvious considering this is coming out after our Game of the Year.
Well, at the point we were at with Game of the Year, we were like, well, it's fucking stupid to have not done this. We're going to go to KZ next.
This is clearly one of the most ambitious, like, visual novel or games I've played from a story perspective. It is nuts how much they were able to pull off and how engaging it is. The visuals, off the chart. The music's great. I enjoyed the combat. The world feels alive in this game. You have those scenes where characters are walking around and, like, talking while you're talking to someone else, and you catch both conversations. And there's so many little touches in the game that just make everything feel so natural. The only main negative part of the game is the fact that you realize you may never play a game like this ever again. It's a 10.
That is a problem. That may be the worst part of games that are 10s, you know?
Zetsuboshita.
I guess this is when I go. This game's genuinely special. It transcends that barrier of, if you're a fan of the genre, like, literally everyone should try this game. It has a fantastic, engaging story that keeps you guessing the whole way through. The combat is, while simultaneously light and easy to get into, very interesting and engaging. I appreciate that about it a lot. You know, if you had done turn-based even, it would be less approachable for most people, I think.
Yeah.
And I find that deeply fascinating about the exact level of balance they have for the combat system. Also, it's the only combat system officially credited as inspired by that Fireworks PS2 launch title.
Fantavision?
Yes.
What?
They literally said, this was inspired by Fantavision. I thought that looked cool.
I guess I can see it with like Missile Rain.
Yeah, that one I never would have guessed. I got the soundtrack immediately. I got inspirations in the plot immediately. No, never. Never.
I've had enough.
Absolutely fantastic game. You know, this is one of those games where it's really special enough where you just sit there and go, man, you really miss out if you don't have a PlayStation platform. Like, because it's not on anything else, just like Dragon's Crown isn't. And that's unfortunate. I really wish this would come to other platforms so that way more people could try it. I'm also really glad this game looks sharp because we're here on our PS5s, you know? We're seeing things incredible. Right.
On OLEDs. Everybody played this on OLEDs.
And oh my God, he's right. It looks so sharp. And the number one concern I had was, what if it's just like, you know, blurry and crappy? Like, that would be a shame if we just transitioned over to this new generation and this game's just kind of blurry and doesn't look great and you wish you could get back. No. Those yakisoba ponds look incredible. And that's important. Yeah, I'm going to have to give this game a 10. It's really quite something special. And clearly it's genre defining, so much so that it must be cast out of the kingdom.
Yeah, it's no new genre that nothing else could ever make.
It's like Cowboy Bebop, right? You know?
New things aren't allowed to be the best.
That's God, some people.
You know, I didn't think it would be possible, but yeah, a game so good, it got a 50 out of a 40.
Yeah. There you go. That's how highly recommended it is.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't believe it beat another game that came out the same year, The Last of Us Part 2, by 34 points.
Yeah, it's a shame it only was that much better.
Could you imagine if, and I need to stop punching that game, but could you imagine if this game sat there and was like, I really like this movie, so I missed the entire point of the twist in it.
Oh my God.
Not to punch The Last of Us 2, but to punch something else. Think about this. If the McRib, which we did a spoiler cast on Big Think Dimension, if we quadrupled its score, it would still lose.
Good. Yes.
That's correct.
Because it got a 12.
That is correct.
13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, better than a McRib.
Better than a
Put
McRib.
that shit on the box.
Plus Last of Us 2 plus Days Gone. But to be fair to Days Gone, we haven't experienced it on the PS5.
Yeah,
that's going to jump
true.
35 points.
Every time I see it on the PS5, I feel like I'm being
jumping 35 points.
Every time I see it on the PS5, dude, every fucking time I feel like I'm watching a Ubisoft trailer that lies about how the game looks.
But it's real.
I'm like, that's bullshit.
yes.
You do not look like that, Days Gone.
You're lying to me. How do you look like this?